Hello and welcome to Bible Bites, a ministry here at St. Philip the Deacon Lutheran Church. I'm Makayla, pastor of Family Life. And today in this video, I'd like to explore a story about when Jesus meets his disciples after he has been raised from the dead. And I like to call this story Breakfast with Jesus. So what's happening is that the disciples have seen Jesus after he was raised from the dead, but they don't get to hang out with him all the time like they used to. And so they're trying to figure out how to live their life and what to do. Meanwhile, Jesus is appearing to different groups of people and trying to encourage his followers to live into a new way of being with him no longer on earth in the same way. So the disciples go fishing because what else are they going to do? So they're out in their boats, they don't catch anything, it was a long night, and suddenly a man shows up on the shore and tells them to try again. So they begrudgingly throw their nets back into the water and they catch a huge amount of fish. It's like 153 fish. In that moment, Jesus' disciple and good friend Peter recognizes that it's Jesus who gave them that command. And he is so excited to see Jesus, he jumps into the water and swims to shore. And then Jesus and all of their friends, they have breakfast on the beach and they talk and remember their time together. And it gives a chance for Peter and Jesus to reconcile. Because if you remember what happened during Holy Week, Jesus was on trial with Pilate, and people recognized Peter and they asked, "Do you know Jesus? Aren't you one of his followers?" And 3 times Peter denied Jesus and said, "No, I don't know him." And it can be kind of a tough thing to understand. Why did Peter do that? But he was probably protecting himself, because if he would have said, "Yes, I follow Jesus," he may have ended up being killed right alongside of him. In any case, it is a little bit of a moment of shame for Peter to sort of realize and recognize and try to deal with the fact that he didn't say that he knew Jesus. So in this conversation on the beach, Jesus gives him 3 more times to make up for that. Jesus says 3 times, "Peter, do you love me?" And remember, Peter denied him 3 times. And every time Peter gets a chance to say, "Yes, I love you. I will follow you. And I will do my best to live as a new person and live according to your teachings and share your love with all the world as your disciple." So that is the story. The one thing that 2 points that I'd like to bring up for you actually. And the first is that let's explore this story at breakfast time. So maybe on a Saturday morning, you and your family eat fish for breakfast. It might sound kind of silly, but it can help by shaking up our routines. We can think about things a little differently. And so we want to remember that Jesus is with us all the time and he calls us to love one another and to feed each other. And so maybe have fish for breakfast and remember that that is what Jesus would have eaten with his friends. Secondly is this big part of the story where Peter and Jesus get to talk and have a moment of reconciliation. One thing that is interesting about this passage when you read it in the ancient Greek is that Jesus asks Peter, "Peter, do you love me?" But Jesus uses the Greek word agape for love, and it means an unconditional love. It's like the love that God has for us. It's never ending. You don't have to deserve it. It's just utterly undescribable, beautiful love. And then when Peter responds, though, to "Peter, do you love me?" he says, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." But Peter uses the word phileo, which is more of a brotherly love, a familial love. It's not as strong as the word agape. Finally, in the end of their conversation, Peter is able to get it and say, like, "Yes, I love you, Lord," more than words can say, right? He's understanding that the love that Jesus has and that the love that he is being called to show is that unconditional love of God that we share in the the ways that we share love with one another by serving one another and things like that. So this point in the story is an interesting talking point for you and your kiddos to talk about different kinds of love. We love each other differently. When I say that I love pizza, it's different than the way that I love my son or I love my spouse. And so you can explore that together as a family, that there are different ways of loving, but in the English language, we only have that one word, which is love. I hope that these are some interesting things for you to explore as a family. Maybe you have fish for breakfast, and maybe you discuss the different types of love that you share in different relationships, all through this story of Jesus and his disciples sharing breakfast on the beach. I'd like to leave you with a blessing that you can share among your family, and may it give you peace and grace into your next week. May God's love be in our hearts, in our mouths, and in our minds. May God's love work through our hands and lead us in every way.